Alright, jumping right in here, we've got Moab, Utah. It is in eastern Utah. And you see it's nestled in a canyon, high canyons on either side. Makes a gorge there. Canyons going off on either side, snaking away, and they've got rivers in the bottom. So this one goes off to the northeast, this one heads off to the southwest. And you see it kind of makes that X. And just keep in mind for orientation purposes, because the next one I just used the standard Google Map kind of picture, and you have to kind of turn it. I turned it just a bit on its side so that canyon that Moab sits in is north and south, and that makes it a little easier for me to draw on top of. So let me fumble with this for a moment. That's north. So now you can kind of get a good idea, if you couldn't see the compass, about how much I had to turn it. So you see, follow that river. There's a canyon in the middle, and then just follow it the other way. All the way out here. I do hope you can see that. I apologize for the auto contrast and the auto focus. I just got a fancy webcam that I don't know how to operate. So moving over to red, let's just kind of jump right in. Before I do, actually see here I wanted to draw the river over that 128 so you can see where it was underneath it. I didn't get the screen cap without the labels, so it's for clarity. Alright, here we go. And we're going to start, and we're going to bisect all kind of major concave portions of this canyon system. Just draw it out from the center there, and there we go. Alright, so that's one direction. Now let's switch over to red from the other way, remembering to bisect the concave portions of these kind of these hairpin turns that the canyons do. And you just take it all the way back to the center. And that's something. Alright, so zooming in, let's switch to a smaller thing there, and I'm gonna check my work. I'm gonna put a little notch there on the now the convex side, the opposite side of the concave, yeah, line that we drew through it. So kind of gives you an idea. It's I draw them on the bottom here, and then when I go over to the right side, you draw them on top. And I consider that just to be kind of one long interruption, and kind of keep that in mind, how it's just that long flat part. It's going to show up later as well. There we go. So I drew blue on the bottom that time, just kind of pointing out. They both went through, they bisected concave portions of the system, and then draw them on the top on the other side. And I try to stick with the general trends, that the large, more significant looking portions of the river. Though I don't see why you couldn't just go smaller. And here we've got, this is Hall's Crossing. I think this is also in Utah. It's actually just a little bit, there you can see the gorge in the middle and canyons on either side, but this one's just a ways southwest of Moab. But see the center gorge and the reservoir, the canyon, whatever it is, and all these ones out here. All these, that's crazy kind of stub thing it's got going there. That's strange, but there's no lake in the bottom, so there's no river snaking through it, so I don't think it's too significant yet. So I mess with my layers here and jump right in. There's north. You can see I kind of had to orient it about the same amount. Now you'll notice here as I go past that extended reservoir, it kind of curves around it, which I'm going to encapsulate now, following the same kind of pattern that I've been following. And it kind of just gets it stuck right in there. You kind of draw around it, but I mean, then when you go in with the red, there, and it just cuts right through the middle. Which, yeah, it's the way I'm drawing it, but it's at the same time, it's a coherent and stable vortex pattern. There. Bring it up so you can see it a little bit brighter there, and there. Guess we'll start checking the work. Notice that kind of, they all seem to have these weird little offshoot reservoirs, these little companion canyons. There, you see that one. That one's just incredible, though. And do it with blue on the opposing side because they move. Well, they oppose each other. And these things, this is going to be, I'll explain more about that nub there a little better. I think in part 2, be able to show it a little better, but keep it in mind. Now I drew them on the bottom, I draw them on the top. There. It's a spiral. Now make sure and check my work there. See, it looks like it's got that offshoot reservoir there, that companion canyon that... Yeah, it's just interesting, just curious. And on this one, this is Raystown Lake Recreation Area. It's this long snaky thing here, and it's got that center gorge there. This is in Pennsylvania, I think, yeah. Let me just trace this out. And, there you go, kind of just snakes through. Right through the landscape. Same thing here. Look at that. See that little bump in the center? I consider that another one of those kind of interruptions. There's one of those flat spots where it peters out, but it still appears to have that companion canyon. There's your north designator. Only had to turn it just a little bit. Alright. Actually, I think that this one might be my favorite out of all the examples I have, I guess. This is probably my favorite because it just seems to be the most coherent. And there you see I just draw a couple of Because, I mean, why bother making the spiral? It's going to keep spiraling out in a coherent manner, so, and I don't have enough room on the canvas. So let's just follow that one around, and at this point it's only a matter of keeping it between the lines. If you keep it between the lines, you're pretty much gonna you're gonna bisect the next concave. It's gonna look a little wonky, but I mean, once you go through and you look at it, you inspect it and check your work, then you can actually see that it delivers. There we go, all the way back into the center. Look at that. Let's check our work. Starting, yeah, might as well add those. I mean, it would continue anyways. I guess I gotta point out just to make sure, like I see that, bisect that concave, and there's that one there. So it still remains in a coherent pattern. Just gets a little bunched up and tightened up there. So let's continue. I drew them all on the bottom, so now I draw them on the top. There you see that little kind of low interruption one. Whatever, it kind of didn't seem to be like strong enough to push the river out that much. So going through with the blue on the bottom. There, see? The two reservoirs even match up. And we go along the top. There, so you got that huge companion canyon just shoots off right there. It's incredible. There, and that's Pennsylvania's vortex. Just incredible. And I understand that nature has coherent patterns, but this is just too coherent, too large. This is too massive of a scale. So, yeah. Stay tuned for part 2.